those creatures. And I think the all-you-can-eat buffet in this movie, the first one that shows up, it's quite edgy because it's a little kid campground camp. And that probably made no sense, campground camp. But it's on a bunch of small children and the camp counselors. And I'm watching this and I'm going, wow, these kids are actually getting killed. And it's a really edgy move for a movie like that, especially coming out at that time. And then, of course, after that, it goes into like some kind of water park, and it's insane stuff. But it's the writing in this. I gotta comment on the writing because it's a really solid script. Like, I laughed out loud a couple times during this, and it's not unintentional humor either. This is really good comedy. Like, there's one scene where I think our two protagonists, they're somehow stuck in a military base. Don't ask. And they get this. They're going to go distract the guards so they can escape. And there's a woman and a man. They're the two protagonists. And they're going to go, distract the guard. And they actually dispute over who should distract him because they're deciding whether or not that soldier is gay based on his appearance. They have a whole scene on that in the film. It is terrific. I think there's one performance in here, though. It's by Dick Miller. And he's probably not a household name. But if you've seen Gremlins, I think he's one of the father figures in that. And in the Terminator, the original Terminator, he's the pawn shop owner. I always thought that was one of my favorite scenes in the Terminator. It was because of Dick Miller. Dick Miller is in this movie, and what he does is a perfect, just kind of paradise version of the mayor in Jaws. Because, the mayor in Jaws, he wouldn't close the beach down because, it's a big financial season. You can't close that. It's like closing a mall on Black Friday. And I think what Dick Miller does is that he's a cold-hearted son of a bitch. This guy is so terrible. Not only does he not close it, but he gets a phone call, and his assistant comes, and he goes, sir, there's a problem. The piranhas are eating our guests. And at that moment, he just curses his mind out. He's really upset, and he goes to his office. It's one of those movies where it has those over-the-top moments, but it also has a really sharp script that really works. And, of course, there are some really bad moments in this movie. I mean, some of this movie is just cringe-inducingly awful. But luckily, all the good moments of it really overshadow that portion of it. And I'm shocked that I'm saying all this praise for a 70s horror movie. But I'm going to go as far as to say that Piranha is actually a 70s horror classic. It's definitely nothing exceptional. This isn't like a revolutionary landmark in horror cinema, but it is a pretty underrated film. And I think if you watch this with some of your buddies, it's not as gory as you'd probably want it to be, but it does everything you kind of expect it to do. It doesn't take any sharp turns or anything. And I think I just lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. But overall, Piranha, really good film. I think the main argument you can put over this is whether or not this is better or worse than the film we'll be reviewing later on in the podcast.
Yes, we don't want to spoil our thoughts on the film too early, so I guess you could talk a bit about the comparison of those two movies when we actually get to our review, which will be interesting.
Oh, yeah, it should be. I've been thinking about it all today, and I think I got some good arguments.
Well, that's very good. I look forward to your opinion on that. So, yeah, Piranha, I have not seen it, but after hearing you talk about it, I cannot wait to check it out, because that sounds like it's, right up my alley.
It's one of those tougher films to find nowadays. Like, on Netflix, totally non-existent.
I know, I just looked it up, actually. I was like, I hope it's on Netflix, watch instantly. And it's not even on Netflix. You have to... it's ridiculous.
No, but luckily it is on Amazon, and I think it's one of those movies where if you do find it cheap enough, I totally recommend you pick this one up, because it's a really interesting film to watch.
Well, that sounds fantastic. And can I just ask you one more question?
Of course.
Have you seen Piranha 2 this spawning?
I have not, because I think Piranha 2 is harder to find than Piranha 1, but I am so looking forward to it, because I think the premise of Piranha 2 is now the piranhas... Get ready for this, Will.
Oh, damn.
They have wings.
Oh, you just blew my mind.
Oh, snap. Oh, Jesus. It's Marvel.
Yes.
I can't wait.
Alright, well, very interesting, very cool.
So what did you watch? What's the second thing you watched this week?
Okay, well, I actually want to talk about a TV show I've been watching recently, and this is one of my favorite TV shows, actually. It's Psych. Yeah, no one really watches this anymore. This goes out to like the 10 people in the world who still watch it. But I've been a big fan of the show for years. I think it's just an excellent show, and even though it's not it's not one of the greatest shows of all time. It's not The Wire. It's just really. It's just so much fun, and it's something that's really just cool to follow on a week-to-week basis. So yeah, I want to talk a bit about the 6th season, which is actually I'm sorry, the 5th season, which is the season that started about a month ago, and we're like 6 episodes in. Yes. Okay, well, first of all, I should say, for those of you who don't know what Psych is about, basically it's about this character named Sean, who's kind of a snarky, glib guy. He's really hilarious, just, he's always got something witty to say. And, to add to that, he's also kind of like the modern-day Sherlock Holmes. Like, he is just a genius at solving crimes. Like, at crime scenes, you can always notice these little details that are just really integral to the solving of the case. However, because he's such a genius at solving these crimes, no one actually believes that he's actually solving the crime. So in order to actually solve the crimes, using his insane knowledge that no one actually believes he has to pretend that he's a psychic. So whenever he sees something, he just has to have a psychic vision that it's there, or he has to have a psychic vision of, explaining to the police how it's integral to, the solving of the case. And some of that is just really hilarious. And if you've never seen the show, I recommend you check it out. The first season, like many shows, is the best season, and the pilot is just, I think, one of the best TV show pilots of all time. I absolutely love that pilot. But anyway, let's talk about the 5th season, which is the season that is upon us right now. Yeah, this season, here's the thing. What really works about Psych is the kind of banter between the main character, Sean, played by James Roday, and his sidekick / best friend, played by Dule Hill, whose name is Gus in the show. Just always their dialogue is so snappy, so hilarious. There's so many 80s pop culture references just embedded in some of the lines that if you, recognize them, or make the show just 10 times more entertaining to watch, and it's just always the things they're doing, just talking back and forth. That's what makes the show really work. And I am very happy to say that great writing is definitely there in Season 5. As long as that's there, I'm still going to be watching Psych. Because it is just excellent. And this season, sometimes it's truly just a laugh-out-loud moment, some of the stuff that happens between them. And that's really, kind of what makes the show excellent. However, the other great thing about the show that's been there since the beginning was the mystery solving. I think it's a show that actually has some pretty cool mysteries, and that's what I think is lacking in this season. There's just, Sean is hilarious as always, but there's just not enough of him actually solving the mysteries. It's like Sean is becoming dumber. He's not able to solve the mysteries like he once did. And that's kind of, it's kind of disheartening. There's just not enough of that. And I'm really hoping that in the second half of the season or just later in the season, they're going to really bring that back in full form, because that would be excellent. But in these first few episodes, I just feel like it's really lacking. And the mysteries themselves just really aren't that interesting, and the reveals are kind of bland. However, this show is always going to be entertaining to watch as long as the fun characters and great dialogue between those fun characters remains there, and I think it's definitely there in the 5th season. So, and the other thing is, Psych is a show unlike something like The Wire or The Sopranos or Lost, most definitely. It's a show where you can just kind of, if you know nothing about the show, you can just pick up an episode and watch it and just really enjoy it for what it is. And if you're going to do that, I suggest you not do it with the 5th season, because this is really not Psych at its best. That's the first 3 seasons, I'd say. This show has been slowly declining, like most shows of this type do, and that's very unfortunate. I still think the show's very fun to watch, because of the dialogue, like I said, and the really hilarious characters. However, the mystery solving, I feel like, is kind of taking a back seat to that, and that's kind of unfortunate, because that's always one of the more fun parts of a mystery show, if they can really pull it off well, and that's something they did when Psych started out, and that is definitely something that I'm not really feeling in this 5th season. So, overall, it's good, but it's not great, like, in my opinion, the first 3 seasons were. So yeah, that's Psych. If you've never seen it, I strongly recommend you check it out because it is a great show. It's a lot of fun, and James Roday is just